Hi and welcome to another episode of Chennai AI Community Podcast. Let's join together and explore the world of AI through interesting conversations. With that note, I would like to welcome our guest today, Gauranga. He's a Harvard researcher. Hi Gauranga, thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm really glad you invited me. I'm just a student, but I will try my best to give my best and share my experiences over the few years. I'll thank you. I'm really glad. Thank you so much for having me.
You're a student and you've gone to Harvard and you have a very interesting journey, and you definitely, I think, there's a lot of inspiration that people can take with your journey. So I'd love to hear that. I know that if you can share with the audience.
Oh yes. I do have an interesting story. Yeah, I would love to, because people most probably sees the overall picture, but there's a lot of thing going on inside. So yeah, it was back in September or August 2023 when I was trying to mail a couple of people. So the reason I was trying to mail was to get a research internship abroad.
Okay.
Because I had a couple of internships in India, and I want to go outside and see the world and see what kind of work is being done there, have a taste of research. So I was trying to mail a couple of people. So I would like to take a pause here and say a few things.
Sure.
So many people assume that we can mail like 200, 300 people, and based on that, at least one or two of them will mail back.
Yeah.
And that's how we get in. But I'd rather believe in the fact that quality is more important than quantity when it comes to research.
Okay.
So of course I'll speak a few things about maybe towards the end, how to figure out your research experience, how to figure out your research interest and stuff. But assuming that you have a particular research interest, try to look for people in and around the world, maybe United States or the European states or Japan or Australia. Try to figure out interesting labs and see what kind of work is being done.
And again, you went on a scholarship.
Oh yeah, that was a different story. So I was applying for the scholarship when I was in that was back in around that time. But once I applied for the scholarship, I completely forgot about that, because the professor who was supposed to give me the letter of recommendation, because of my own negligence, I assumed that he forgot the letter of recommendation, the submission. So I completely felt that I've messed up on that part, because of which I completely forgot about it. So I have this personality which I'm not very proud of, but I just completely forget the things that if it doesn't work out. So
it's done, it's over, it's out of the mind.
It's out of the mind. Yeah, exactly.
And then on to the next adventure.
Exactly. So I was like, I don't have a scholarship, because the scholarship would have helped me.
Correct.
But I assumed that I don't have the scholarship. Now I was just mailing them, because I was actually very sad about that part. I was mailing them, and I got an acceptance from one of the labs I wanted to work at, and she took my interview, and in the end she told me that unfortunately I do not have any funds to give it to you, but I would love to have you work with us virtually. I was like, yeah, of course, why not? I love work. I would work virtually, but my mind was a bit dim, because I actually wanted to go there.
Yeah, in person is obviously different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I told my father that I needed a little bit of money, but getting that amount of money was completely impossible. But my father was very supportive. He did say to me that somehow or the other I would manage that amount of money. You can go and have a research done. But then I had a conversation with my supervisor. She was very sweet. She told me that let's keep it virtual, because I really do not want you to spend or from your own pocket. So yeah, I settled on this fact that I will be doing my summer there.
So with the government scholarship, you went to Harvard. So
then what happened was all of a sudden I settled on this fact that my father will not be able to not give me that amount of money, and I would be working virtually. But I was going on with my life. 2-3 months passed, and all of a sudden on my 24th birthday, surprisingly, I got this mail from the organization that I got selected for this scholarship, and that's when everything started.
So God gave you a birthday gift.
Seems like God actually gave me a birthday gift, and I had an amazing journey in Boston. Yeah, it was beautiful.
So what was your research in Harvard?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting thing that was going on. So before going there, I communicated with the person with whom I would be working with.
Okay.
He gave me a few research papers, and I made sure that I would read them. So whenever I was going back to my state after my semester was over, I was reading the papers in flight. I was reading the papers in taxi. I just figured things out. What is it all about? What's it going?
So you're reading in the flight and reading in the taxi.
Yes, I was doing that because I was so excited to get myself started.
Yeah.
But it happens to be that I necessitated the entire thing going on. I needed to understand. I needed to make sure that I understand whatever is going on.
Okay.
So my work is something around like it will be a bit complex to explain, but I would like to keep it interesting and non-technical.
Okay, sure.
So it's like we have all different types of organs in our body.
Yeah.
And there's one more thing I should definitely say when it comes to organs. So there is a personal touch to this. So I got this offer and so my supervisor was from an institute called Joslin Diabetes Center.
Okay.
The reason I've choose to go in this particular institute because I myself am suffering from type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
And that gave me a personal touch and something that motivates to work around. So it was all about diabetes. That's what I wanted to say, first thing. And secondly, diabetes, so my lab was trying to understand diabetes from a different point of view.
Okay.
They were trying to understand diabetes from a point of view where we consider fat into account. So there's fat everywhere. And my job was to work on or build machine learning models that kind of predicts or that kind of finds the cellular proportion of the different fat cells in different parts of the body.
So machine learning applied on biology.
Exactly.
Okay. So now for the audience, we know that AI is in every field. This is how AI is in every field.
Yes, it is. It is indeed true. So so this process is called deconvolution.
Okay.
So if the audience wants to maybe understand what's going on they can. Yeah.
So one question I have at this point is like regularly in corporate world or even in startup. Okay, startups see certain failures, but research by that term doesn't guarantee success. Research in itself means something new. How was your days? Like, did you see success, failure? How was that?
Oh, it was beautiful. Trust me, it's filled with a thrill and suspense because I remember there was one day when I was working there, I was stuck for 5 or 6 days, and believe me, if you're stuck with so many days, you will go crazy. I was given a task to find something that was, my program was not running.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what was the issue because my code seems correct. It seems like there was an issue with a little bit of an understanding, which I read a paper, I tried to investigate what's going on, and finally it worked. So you see, those 5 days, it was really a nuisance for me. But the 6th day when I did it, it was like the best day of my life back then. So research is filled with lots of surprises. It's true. I can give you an example.
Okay.
So recently I read this book, and I really request everyone who needs a little bit of an encouragement to see how beautiful research is. So there is this book by an amazing person. Her name is Professor Kathleen Carrico.
Okay.
If you are not aware of her, she is the person, I would say, responsible for the COVID vaccine.
Okay, the RNA vaccine.
Yes.
Okay.
The mRNA vaccine.
mRNA vaccine.
So she wrote this book called My Life in Science. So I was reading this book. It's a pretty new book, and I have read a couple of books which is along these lines. But I would like to take inspiration from this book. So she was so first of all she was a Hungarian scientist. She came all the way from Hungary to United States to conduct research. She was really interested in understanding mRNAs and what's going on, and her entire life has been described from an mRNA point of view, her scientific life. So she was working on this this thing for years, for tens of years, for decades, without any recognition.
Or funding?
There was funding, of course, but there was very little funding. And if you read the book, you'll find that she was even she was not recognized as the way she should have gotten recognized. She was working on this. She believed in herself. That one day she believed in the fact that one day this will work out. And she was working, and she had an amazing supportive family. She had a husband, her daughter. By the way, her daughter is an Olympic gold medalist twice.
Great.
What were the chances?
Yeah.
So she was there, and she was working without funding, without recognition, and then all of a sudden, after years of research, this is all happens. All of a sudden, she comes into the picture. Her mRNA research work suddenly gives her the Nobel Prize.
So that's the vaccine. Pretty much in US and countries they use the mRNA vaccine, right?
Yes, it's an mRNA-based vaccine.
So millions of people's life is saved in a way.
Yes. So she was associated with a company. I don't remember. I'm very bad with the names. And the company already knew that such phase will come because of the COVID thing, which is in the air, and they already had issued like millions and millions of such vaccines and stored it. When the right time comes, they will just dissipate.
And what's running in my mind is, so somebody, you said she put decades of effort.
Yeah.
So how can somebody with no recognition, not much funding, like how can they pursue? Like what is the mindset of a researcher? If you can just say you are a researcher, what's the mindset?
That's a beautiful question. I would love to answer that. So our mind, it's loose, to say it loosely. It's more about the output that we get. It's about the beauty there is to solve a problem completely new. The knowledge that you have, how do you use that particular knowledge to solve a problem? That's very exciting, and that's very rewarding. Not in terms of money, of course, but in terms of contentment,
satisfaction we get out of that.
Yes.
So it's very similar to, let's say somebody is joining, like you talk to children, they normally say, I want to become a police officer or a doctor. I want to save lives. I want to do better for society. It's on those same lines.
It's on the same lines, exactly. That's correct. Thank you for bringing such a beautiful connection.
So that's interesting. So if you can tell, what are some recent cool or interesting AI research that's happening around? If you can share with the audience.
So I'd like to start off with this fact that it's such an amazing time to be born. I'm not pretty sure if anyone has heard about this, but there is this word called AI winter. I would not explain what this is. I would leave with this as an exercise to the audience to see what an AI winter was.
They can read my book. I have written on that.
Yes. So it's really a very beautiful time to be born, and there are so many things going on around. So I could give a little bit on what's going on like this. For example, let's talk about this year's Nobel Prizes. So you won't believe it. The Nobel Prize in Physics was given to the pioneers of deep learning.
Nobel Prize in Physics?
Yes, was given to the pioneers of deep learning. So
that's AI.
Deep learning is at the heart of artificial intelligence right now. And I guess his name was Geoffrey Hinton, and the other person was I think Hopfield. And the prize was something around applications of. So this idea was borrowed from the region. This is again a controversial thing going on here. Where the region of winning the Nobel Prize in Physics, it was something related to Hopfield's thing, and it has a connections with that. It's something I would like to avoid. It's
Okay,
something
that's fine.
from physics, from statistical physics. But yeah, let's not got into the
Okay.
technical details. My point is, yeah. So that's the first thing. And in fact, you'll find that the Nobel Prize in chemistry was also given to people who work in the field of machine learning and artificial intelligence.
So AI back to Nobel Prize awards. One is physics and chemistry.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Even so, the Nobel Prize in chemistry was given to these 3 people. 2 were
Okay.
from Google DeepMind.
Okay.
The third person is David Baker from University of Washington.
Huh.
The prize was given to this particular model called AlphaFold.
Yeah.
The prize was partly given to the AlphaFold and partly to David Baker for his contributions in what we call as prediction of protein folding.
Okay.
So you'll find proteins everywhere, but it was a very hard task to predict the structure of proteins. There are hundreds and thousands of proteins, and it was very difficult to predict the 3-dimensional structure of proteins.
So, I mean, we've been hearing that AI is used for medicine discovery and all that. I think that's pretty much what you're saying, that this protein is one of the crucial factors in understanding the biology. I think that's where what was not possible many years ago without AI is now becoming possible.
Yes.
Okay.
So I like to say this. I mean, Professor David Baker. I mean, I have not met him personally, but David Baker is supervisor of my teacher,
Oh, okay.
whom I met in Harvard. He is currently a researcher at Harvard, and I
Okay.
had very fond memories talking to him. And
Amazing. Okay.
yeah. So from what I know,
Uh-huh.
and I have been in touch. I mean, virtually.
Okay.
Not exactly in touch, but I know I have been following David Baker's work. He's a pioneer in his work. He has been working in prediction of protein foldings and prediction of protein structures for tens of years, and he has been doing this. His entire life I don't know if it's his entire life, but a huge proportion of his work
On
revolves
research.
around prediction of protein structure, and he has spent tens and tens of years. And all of a sudden in 2023, this team from Google DeepMind comes and solves the entire problem of protein prediction of protein structure.
So that's for audience to know that AI, how rapidly things are happening, and how new possibilities are being discovered, and new heights are being reached.
Yeah, exactly. So all that was not possible, and brilliant people, genius people like David Baker giving years and years of work into this.
Absolutely.
AI solves in one year. That's the power.
Alright, so that's interesting. So, I mean, research to me looks like a lot of work. So, if someone wants to get into research, so what will be the prerequisites?
Right. So I would personally say that pick a good standard book.
Okay.
From the field of machine learning or AI.
Okay.
Because usually those books cover a little bit of math for those who are not much equipped with the mathematics.
Okay.
I mean, my point is mathematics is very important. It's everywhere. So you need to have a good foundations in mathematics. I'm assuming that by mathematics I'm also putting the other things like statistics and probability, which and computer science is a different thing, but you can always do computer science practice. So my point is pick a very standard book. I'll give the links to these standard books, for example.
That will be helpful for the audience.
Yeah, just finish the entire book, read it thoroughly, and I think that's the prerequisites. I mean, I guess that should really help.
So, so Max book, you can start with that, and basics of Python or anything that. Do they need to know Python and basic things like to get into a research field, or just Max and understanding of overall AI ecosystem is enough?
Yeah, I'm just talking about the prerequisites. So Python and programming, that is central to solving any machine learning program.
So for a research, is that required?
Of course, it's required.
It's required.
It is required. Of course.
Okay. So Max and Python.
Yeah.
And
maybe build some good understanding of mathematics,
okay.
and at the same time practice programming, and that should be helpful to begin with. Of course, there's a lot to the story.
Cool. So then, if you can tell, what is it something that you are currently working on? So we spoke about your Harvard work. So what is that you are working currently on?
Oh yes, I would love to answer to this question.
Okay.
So I'm currently working on a very interesting field that's which is kind of very underrepresented right now. But yeah, a lot of work has been done in this field. A lot of people are working on this field, but not as much as people working in, for instance, computer vision or natural language processing or Gen AI. Yeah. So I'm currently working on this field called Causal Inference and Causal Learning.
Causal Inference and Causal Learning. What does it mean?
Yeah. So let's take an example. If I say that for example, in the United States, with the increase in ice cream sales, there are more shark attacks.
Increase in ice cream sales, increase shark attacks. So it means it's summer. It means it's summer. So people are out in the waters.
But if exactly, that's correct. That's correct. So, but if I simply say that with increase in ice cream sales, there are more shark attacks.
Okay, there is no relation to it unless you understand the context of it.
Exactly. So there is no relation to it. So a machine learning model, for example, who cannot quote unquote think, will say that
for it it's irrelevant.
That with increase in ice cream sales there will be more shark attacks. So these are called spurious correlations. And most of the machine learning models right now are built on correlations. But there is more to the picture. The picture is something which you have already said. For example, when I said this particular statement, you immediately came up to the fact that...
because I was in US, so I know that in winter I used to sit at home and summer we used to wait. So I probably, if I have been not exposed to that environment, I might even not know that. It might not have spontaneously come to my mind as well.
I see. Yeah, exactly. But I think that any person, any person would have been able to figure this out. That's what I'm saying, because this thing is inbuilt on our systems. The region, the power to think, so-called cause and effect. We are able to distinguish these spurious correlations.
So rise in petrol price, rise in vegetables, cost of vegetables. Likewise. So we know. Okay.
So we are being able to fill in the gaps.
Correct.
We are being able to find out the cause and effect. So my point is, I think if you want to go in the direction of, for example, I'm being a little fantastical here, so-called fantasy. If you really want, if you have looked at these big robot movies or AI big movies who can actually think and talk to you, there is a very beautiful movie I would like to say. There is this movie called Her. You should definitely watch. It's completely based on a machine which, of course, it's set up in the future. So my point is, if you really want to work in the direction of, for example, artificial general intelligence, super intelligent machines which can so-called think. To think means to find cause and effect.
That makes sense.
To be able to find cause and effect.
It's not a simple just a statement, but to understand what is the context, what is the overall, the other side of the meaning, not just the spoken words.
Exactly. So that's the part of the angle I'm working on. I'm not trying to build any AGI or something like that, but I'm trying to understand what is cause, what is cause and effect. How do you distinguish from the word correlations? And in fact, this particular field won the Nobel Prize. I don't remember, but you must have heard of these two couple pairs. From the field of economics, Esther Duflo and Abhijit Banerjee.
I think kind of remember recalling the name.
So they won a Nobel Prize in the field of economics, and their prime contribution was in the field of poverty, and that was completely based on so-called randomized control trials and things that cover causal inference. so-called causal inference. And yeah, so it's a beautiful field, and this is what I'm trying to work on. Try to put cause and effect into the current machine learning models and
Awesome.
bring some interpretability and explainability.
So that's interesting. So, normally for like a software development lifecycle, we know the entire flow, like requirement gathering and whole till deployment. For a research project or a research assignment, what's the flow? I mean, if you can just share it with the audience.
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you so much for asking this. I would love to answer. So, I'm assuming that he has the prerequisites.
Okay.
And the first thing that one can try to do is try to find so say the world is the world is filled with lots and lots of things. It's like a big tree. It starts off, the machine learning is the entire branch.
Okay.
And in machine learning there are lots of other branches, and lots of other branches branch off from those branches. So it's a big world. So the first thing that I would say is maybe pick out a few, or maybe pick out a couple of areas in this entire big field that you are interested in. After that, maybe read a few research papers, see what are the things that are currently being done. Get yourself acquainted with what is being done. So for example, I have chosen causal inference.
Okay.
So this is the little branch I'm talking about. I've chosen causal inference. Now I'll read causal inference papers and see what are the things that people are trying to figure out now.
So earlier research paper, you mean?
I mean to say, after you have the prerequisites, you can go off and read a few research papers.
Research paper
in your area of interest.
Okay.
And one way you can find these research papers is maybe one good thing about finding these research papers, is you will also get yourself names of people who are working in your area of interest.
Okay.
After you read these research papers, maybe you can mail to them and say that, hey, I read your research paper and it's pretty interesting. One of the follow-up questions that you could ask is, would you like to give me a little bit of information on what are the current open areas in your field? Because I remember you read this research paper, blah, 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 and all those things, and after that you can ask me those questions.
Okay, so the first is find something what you like, see something that you are more interested to work on, and see already what has been done, and probably go through papers and reach out to the researcher.
Okay. Yeah, that's a cool way. Yeah, that's the way I use.
Okay, so let's say somebody now reached out to the researcher, and what do they normally say? Like, I want to work with you, or I want to take it up from here and do, like, what is the next step?
Yeah, so one way you can say is that you read a few of the paper, their current work, and you say that, dear Professor XYZ, I've read your work. I am very much interested in working in this area, and I see that such and such is happening and such is happening. I just wanted to know, it's just a template, okay? I just wanted to know, for example, what is the current research area that you are currently focused on? So this way you will find a research problem.
Okay, so it's not a problem that so let's say I am somebody who is starting off, and if I'm reaching out to a professor, then that person is very equipped with what is the gaps and what is the areas that they know the real problem.
Exactly.
Not the problem that I'm assuming in my mind. Okay.
Exactly. And these problems are kind of comes with a flow. These problems, some problems are perennial. They have been there in this world for years and years. People are still trying to solve it. And these problems change with time. And with this such big advancements, these problems change very frequently. And you need to reach out to these big people who have dedicated.
So they are very updated on what's new has come.
Exactly. Because they have been working on this area of interest for the past tens of years. So they exactly know what's going on, and they know the gaps, and they are the right people to guide you.
Okay. So let's for example, I will say that, let's say there is a disease A. Okay. Somebody has worked on it. Not one person, 2-3% have worked on it, and there is some research thing, and I'm interested in that topic. I want to, find a medicine for that. So when I work in that field, I did some innovation, and I was able to take it to the next level. So what happens to the let's say I'm getting recognition for that. is that recognition for me or also the person who have earlier done the research in that field? How does that work?
That's a very good question. So in research, the recognition. So if you see, the recognition is for the entire community who has been working in this field. So I was researching on diabetes, and I will most probably publishing a paper in the coming few months.
Oh, great! All the best.
Thank you. And so I will be publishing a paper with my guide in the coming few months. And this paper is my recognition. And I will be. No one might know that I have done a research in the field of diabetes. Maybe after 25 years, people, the next Nobel Prize after 25 years, for example, get to the people in the field of curing diabetes, for example, completely curing diabetes, for example. This is assuming. Then although the recognition will be given to this particular person who had done a very significant part of the research, but I believe that this recognition is for all the people who have been working in this particular area in the field in diabetes, because it's a very big I would say it's a very big lots of things going on. There is an interplay of lots of people who has made this happen. So it's a recognition.
So I am this citation. What the term I remember, citation is something most used in research, and is it like crediting? What is it, citation?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good. So citation means when you write a research paper, you will cite a few papers. So you
give reference and
you refer to. So if I ask you to write some, for example, an article, it's possible that you write something completely out of your own. But science is a hugely interdisciplinary field, and you need to borrow ideas from lots of places. So that's what we call it, to refer a different article or refer a different scientific journal. Then what we call is citation. So if a paper has for example 500 citations, then in 500 different articles this particular paper was referenced for.
So it's kind of fine. People have endorsed it, saying that yes, this is a credible thing, and I have built something on top of it, something like that.
Yeah, something loosely speaking.
Like that. So I mean, that's interesting. So for a researcher, what is the career? We know as a corporate, generally we know what the ladder is. We start off as a junior engineer and up to the top as a CEO. So in a research field, how does the career trajectory looks like? What is the roles and career options? If you can just share something about that.
Yeah, so the most common role for a researcher is to go and do your PhD. And after your education, for example, you have finished your bachelor's. Some people go for a PhD right after bachelor's. It was not possible earlier because bachelors were like a 3-year degree. Right now, there are 4-year degree bachelors, and people move with a bachelor's.
So masters is not required now.
Yeah, masters is not a requirement.
Mandatory. It's not mandatory.
But if you want to do a masters, you can do. So I'm assuming that you have a bachelor's or a masters. Because both will land you in a PhD. So the most common thing people do is get a PhD. If you want to be a researcher. And after a PhD, what one can go is very common is they either go for a postdoc, which is like another 2 year of degree, like a PhD.
So 5 years of PhD plus another 2 years.
2 years of postdoc. Yes. So again, that is mandatory. You may want it's mandatory. You may want to do a postdoc. You may not want to do a postdoc. So after I'm assuming that you have a PhD and a postdoc, one of the current directions people move is they go for faculty positions. So they get themselves as a, for example, a lecturer or assistant professor.
So after doing 5 years of PhD, 2 years of postdoc, We land as an assistant professor.
You can end as an assistant professor.
Okay.
So I'm speaking in a universal.
Okay, like
universal. So
yeah.
things would be
big
a bit
top universities we are talking about.
Yeah. So things would be different in India. Things would be different.
Definitely, I understand that.
But I'm just talking universally.
Okay.
So you get yourself as a become an assistant professor.
Okay.
And after that, you teach. You have the privilege of teaching.
Okay.
You have the privilege of guiding people, students. You have the privilege of doing a PhD.
Again.
Sorry, guiding students to do a PhD. Yes.
Okay.
You have the privilege to write papers with your students.
Okay.
That's something how you can go ahead with your research career. That's one way.
Okay. This is academia.
Yes, this is academia.
Okay.
But in the industry, which is again there are a lot of other people doing this. I mean more than the former. In industry, what happens is you can directly go on and do. Of course, you can do any technical job.
Yeah.
But the most common most common direction you can move with your PhD is maybe get yourself a job, which is an R&D job, research and development.
In big corporates.
Okay. And that actually should be very encouraging because they pay a lot of money for that.
Okay.
You will not only be getting a lot of money, you can also do outstanding research.
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned, Google DeepMind winning it. I'm assuming that people with research or very hardcore backgrounds, people like that will be part of such teams in corporate.
Yes, because everything I believe is a research after all.
Yeah.
To find to get it all going, it all starts from research. You need to do a little bit of research.
Okay, so that's interesting. So academia and corporate. Okay, these are two options. Is there any other path that AI researchers can take?
Oh yes, definitely. I would have said that anyway. So, how about this way? This is something I do. How about you teach? For example, there's one way you could do. You can teach online. I mean, this is more. I mean, I teach machine learning. I teach mathematics. I teach statistics to students who want to go in this field. It need not be a part of an education. Need not be a part of an educational institution. You can teach all by yourself and earn money.
Absolutely.
Because teaching is a very noble job. Because if you ask me, if you ask me about my career in research, then I'm very grateful to all the people who taught me, without who made me who I am. Okay. So that's one way. Another way is, how about teaching not to a person, but maybe teach in for example in YouTube.
So again, I think this is a new age.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's very productive as well.
Yeah.
You can teach there, and I mean, you can get hundreds and thousands of views because the world is filled with.
There are so many famous YouTubers I can think of who have who have been teaching and they made huge businesses and huge channels.
Yes. You can also be a part of these big, not so big, but these businesses. You can also be a part of this, and you can work there full time, for example, and teach maybe for So teaching is a very noble job. I guess you can do that. And you can mentor people.
Okay.
If you get hundreds and thousands of views, and if you once get hundreds and thousands of views, you will get a lot of people, and that works like a domino effect.
Absolutely.
All the videos that you are going to make after that will have hundreds and thousands of views, and you will most probably get thousands and at max lakhs of money.
Okay, so that's interesting to know that there are different career pathways AI researchers can take. So, I mean, before we wrap, I would want to ask this one question. Like, you've been to Harvard. This is something, a dream for many people. So, how do you even, like, what advice you have for somebody? I mean, to think of Harvard and to go on a government scholarship. I mean, what do you have to say?
Yeah, thank you for asking this. There is this book, I don't remember the name, but the name of the person is written by Norman Vincent Peale.
Okay.
There's a quote I found. He said, "Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll land among the stars."
Okay.
My point is, I'm an average person, and I had big dreams. So I would request everyone to please dream big. If I had thought myself as, oh, it's Harvard, it's only for the giants, how can I make it? It's impossible. So they would rather not think about it, and they would do no action for it. Inaction, complete inaction. But I thought, I have big dreams. I want to work with them, for example. I want to see what's going on in that world. So I mailed them. I mailed a couple of people. And that's how I made it. So please dream big, and let's back these dreams by hard work, consistent effort, and most importantly, self-confidence.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of one recent interaction. I happened to be in college, and there's one guy who stood up, and he spoke about AIs or whatever we are in that session. He gave a very good explanation, and at the end he just told one thing: my English is not so good. Again, I'm like, who told you your English is not so good? You've been speaking for last 2-3 minutes and you had absolutely no error with it. And that's the point you're making, that we sometimes, most of us think that, okay, maybe we are not so good, maybe this is not to our league. That we should first come over, that inner challenges. So that makes sense. So that if we dream big and think we ourselves capable and go in that direction, right? Okay.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I mean, success, I'm pretty sure success will not come overnight. It's not
going to walk and come to us. We have to walk.
Yes, I think success is a journey.
Yeah.
The journey is much more beautiful than the destination. So let's live our life as a beautiful journey, and rather than
It's amazing. I think journey is all that matters, because destinations, we reach it again, there might be some other destination. It's the journey we need to enjoy.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. I think it's been absolute pleasure understanding the world of researchers, and you exposed us to the world of science and research, and thank you so much for taking time and coming here today.
It's a pleasure to be able to speak, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be able to share my experiences, and I hope that this will be beneficial for the people.
Absolutely. I feel definitely it's going to benefit a lot of people and take inspiration. All right. Thank you then. Thanks everyone, and see you in the next episode. Until then, take care. Bye.